Are you planning to become a rock star full stack developer? Are you curious that how the modern applications like Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn are typically built? You want to do the freelancing, you want to get the internship opportunities, or you want to work in world's most amazing companies. If all these things are in mind, this is the only video that you need to watch to ensure that you set yourself on the path of success in the year 2024. Hello everyone, my name is Vishwa Mohan, and in this video I'm going to tell you the exact roadmap. So even if you don't want to take any kind of coaching, you don't want to take any other guidance, this is the only video that you need to bookmark and see so that you know the step-by-step ways of making it big in the world of IT. In this video I'm going to talk about that in year 2024 and going ahead. If I want to become a rock star MERN Stack developer, what should be my strategy? How should I learn? How many hours should I go and dedicate? So sir, instead of waiting more, let's get started and understand the roadway of becoming a solid MERN Stack developer in year 2024 and ahead. So now let's try to see that how you can become a MERN Stack developer in the year 2024 and going ahead, right? As you can see on the screen itself, you see multiple images here, right? There's an image here, there's an image here, there's an image here, there's an image here. If you know that already, pause the video and put that into the comments कि जो images देख रहे हैं आपको, what they were seeing on the screen on this YouTube video, what are those? So let's get started. So if we're going to talk about, first of all, whenever we have to start any topic, we should always try to follow a logical approach of saying that what followed by why, correct? So in this video also we'll try to understand what is MERN and why I'm telling you that 2024 and going ahead, if you are a MERN Stack developer, you will have lots of opportunities. So first of all, what is a MERN Stack, right? So MERN, if I go and talk about MERN, is an acronym, sir, right? Where each of these words mean that M stands for Mongo database, E stands for Express, R stands for React, and N stands for Node.js. And when you go and combine all these things together, you are made something called as a full stack developer, right? A person with a lot of power, the person for which almost every startup, almost every company is waiting for you with hands both open, right? So in this video, we'll try to understand that what all these terms are, what is MERN, what is so special about MERN, and then when you learn this stack, how do you become a full stack developer, right? Let's try to see that in detail, right? So that's typically where we are, right? And let's try to talk about also that what is the importance of a MERN stack. Now, instead of giving you a lot of gyan, let's try to directly jump on the realistic situation of the market. Today, if I go and talk about in the market, right, who are the main job providers, sir? Who are the main job providers? The main job providers are the startups, correct? 80% of the job people are saying that are because of the startups. Now, startups always have the constraint of two things. Either they don't have time or they don't have resources. So what does it mean is that every time they hire someone, the real expectation of the startup is that this person should be productive from the day one itself. And not only that, if the situation demands, this person can wear different hats. Now almost every company, when I go and talk about, they're typically building what? They're preparing the web applications. And any web application in the modern day comprises of three different layers. You have something called as a front end. So for example, every time you open a website like Instagram or LinkedIn on your mobile phone or desktop, that typically is a front end. And then there is a layer which provides the data to the front end, the crunching and munching, the logical part, that typically is called as a back end. And then we have something called as a database layer. So a person who knows all of these, that typically is called as a full stack developer, So normally if I have to choose, let's say that I have to choose between two persons, a person who is a full stack and between another person who knows only to work in the back end or front end, कौन सा आप choose करोगे? If you have to choose yourself, whom you will go and choose? Definitely this has an added advantage. So almost every company these days, they are in love, they are in great affinity to go and hire a full stack developer. So बात simple सी है, if you want to be employable, if you want to grab the best jobs in the market, you have to be a full stack developer. And one of the tech skill, one of the tech stack that is mostly in demand, because when you go and learn MERN, and I'm going to talk more about this, when you go and learn MERN stack, right, you just need to know one programming language which is called as JavaScript, and with that you can do front end also and you can do back end also. No, isn't it very fascinating and amazing? With one programming language, आप दोनों चीज कर पाओगे, front end and back end both. And that's why when you learn MERN stack in the modern world, you become in demand person, and that's why I'm saying that this is one of the most important skills, especially for the people who are there in college, especially for the people who are trying to make it into the tech, you're trying to do the transition, or you want to stay relevant in the market for the future. MERN is the stack to look for. So with this, we have tried to address the two basic questions, that what is the importance of the MERN stack, right? I believe all of us are super clear on that. And what is a MERN stack? These are the terms, right? So you have, when I go and talk about the MERN stack, M stands for the MongoDB, which you see here, Mongo, right? This stands for React. This is the JavaScript, Node.js, and this is my Express, right? So MERN is basically an acronym which comprises of 4 different stacks: MongoDB, React, Node.js, and Express. Let's try to see each of them in a little detail. Now, just learning MERN, is that enough? There are few additional prerequisites, because I'm telling you that I'll give you a guide where you don't need any kind of guidance from anyone else. So apart from the the MERN stack, if one has to master a MERN, what are the prerequisites? So the very first requisite is that you should have a basic understanding of programming, sir. You should know how the program works, how to write the basic loop, functions, all those kind of things you should be a bit aware of. Secondly, as I said, that the main programming language in the entire MERN stack is JavaScript. So आपको पता होना चाहिए what JavaScript is, what is the different web technologies. Thirdly, here in the MERN we directly talk about the MongoDB, but if you have a good understanding that how databases are, what are they, how they are used, what is the journey of file-based storage system, relational database management system, what is NoSQL, and where MongoDB falls in, typically then you will be able to better make use of MERN stack, right? And last but not the least, softwares are meant to have the different versions, and also if you build something, you should definitely show it to the world, and that's where the version control and Git are the two important tool sets. So MERN is important, but if you want to make the best out of it, I think these are also the skills that should definitely master. And I believe before even jumping to the MERN stack, these are like the level zeros. So if you know this already, I believe you are all set to get started with the MERN. Now, talking about the MongoDB. So MongoDB, sir, falls under the category of what? It falls under the category of data storage. In the modern world, every application today requires the data storage. Be it छोटू सा application or bigger application, every application has the data needs. Have you ever thought of that when you make use of the applications like Instagram or the Facebook, the one photo that you uploaded, even after you come back after 6 months, it's not getting deleted. How is that happening? That is happening because almost every application needs to store data. So MongoDB comes from the generation which belongs to something called as a NoSQL databases. And one of the biggest reason of the MongoDB being used in the today's modern world is that it brings the best of both the worlds. It brings the best of both worlds. Now when I say bring out the best of the world, what are the two worlds? The one of the world is definitely it is the RDBMS world, and the second world that I have is the NoSQL. Now you guys know that if I have to understand in detail how MongoDB is better, I need to actually know a bit about the RDBMS, and I also need to know a little bit about what is the NoSQL context. And because MongoDB tries to marry both of them together, it's one of the most popular choice in the modern world if you have to build a real world application. And that's why MERN make use of MongoDB, because almost every company, in my experience, I work for so many companies, and almost every company that I have worked for, they are using MongoDB. So you need to master MongoDB, its queries, and how it could be integrated with your applications. Now, once we have done MongoDB, the another part is Express. See, sir, what happens when you work in any company, right? When you try to work for any company, what will happen on any project? Multiple people will be working, sir, with you. Multiple people will be working with you. Now, the different people bring different level of expertise. Everyone, even though taught with the same tutor, will have the different levels of learning. Now, ultimate win of a project is that when the work done by each of these individuals can be combined together into a single project. So to do that, whenever you work in the industry, never work in a native programming language. You always use a framework which ensures that you have a minimum quality, which ensures that easy collaboration or sharing of the code happens. So Express.js is nothing but it's a Node.js framework. It's a Node.js framework which helps you create applications in Node.js. So chances are, if you get a job in any of the startup and you are working on the Node.js, typically you are using this framework called as Express. So understanding this is super critical because that's help you get started. So if you are on the path, Express.js is one of the framework that you should definitely master in your path of becoming a rock solid MERN developer. Talking further, then I think React you already would have heard. So there's so many buzz around the React already in the market, right? So what is React? So we know that to create the fancy websites, you need something called as a JavaScript, right? Now, JavaScript, if you try to use natively, you can still do a lot of things, but then you need to, you are required to write a lot of codes yourself. Now what you can think of React is more of like a advanced or the smarter version. It's a smarter version of JavaScript. So most of the things that you need to take care of, creating the hooks, creating the responsiveness, creating the dynamism, almost everything is already being taken care by the React. So React is more of like a JavaScript library, the modern library which almost every company in the world today is using to build the amazing dynamic applications. So React is another something which you'll have to master. And last but not the least, Node we are already talking about. What is Node? Node is nothing but it is a runtime. Runtime. It is basically a runtime of JavaScript. It won't be wrong to say that Node.js has given a new life to the JavaScript. Few years back, JavaScript was only meant for browsers. Now this is a guy, Node, which is built on the top of Chrome V8 engine, allows you that you can use JavaScript inside your laptops as well. So that's how the whole story of MERN. So if you want to become a rock solid MERN developer, you have to understand the MongoDB, you have to master Express, you have to master React, and you have to master the Node.js. And if you do it, you are the man in demand. So let me walk you through the steps. If I break down into the steps that how you should start your journey, as I promised that this is the only video that you need to learn to become a rock solid full stack developer. Let's try to see that. So if you're starting from the beginning, one of the strategy could be that, as I told you, that you have a web application that you have to go and build. It has different parts, right? It has a front end, it has a back end, and it has a database layer. Now, to start with, I think, typically, mostly in the industries, normally you start backwards. So you start with the database, you talk about the back end, and then typically build the front end. But you can take the other route also. So one of the most common route that people are using these days to learn is that you can get started with the web development fundamentals. Right? What is HTML, what is CSS, what is JavaScript. It will take you a couple of weeks to get a hold of this. So get started easy, get started simple, and spend enough time so that you understand the basic nuances of what is HTML, what is CSS, and what is the JavaScript code. Once that is done, you need to understand that what happens. Let's say that, for example, on your computer, when you go and type www.linkedin.com, when you go and type this, how that gets loaded. And that's basically the client-server architecture. So here we have to understand what is the client, what is the server, what is the request response cycle which is happening. A basic understanding of internet will take you a long way in mastering this concept. Once that is done, then that's where you get started into the MERN stack. So this step is basically more of like a prerequisite. यहाँ पे MERN stack चालू नहीं हुआ है. This is a prerequisite. The next step is where you deep dive into the MERN component. So you have to master MongoDB, you have to master Express, React, and Node.js. And sir, trust my words, don't just rely on the theory. What you need to do is that एक छोटा सा concept you have mastered, you should try to create a project. That is the only way to go for. Just learning the concept, queries will not be suffice. Make sure that every small concept that you're building, you are spending good enough time to create the project, right? And after you have created the project, make sure that you're pushing it to the GitHub. And then if you feel it's good enough, you can put over the LinkedIn. Getting the job in the modern market is not only about skills, you have to market yourself, you have to show your presence. How can you do that? One of the best ways is that you create projects, every small thing that you learn, convert that into the project, put over the GitHub and share it with the world. I believe LinkedIn is one of the great places to do that. Fair enough. And this is what I was talking about. Once you have learned this concept, do the integrated development with the MERN. Try to find the real problem statement. Try to find the problem statements near you and see if you can convert that into a real world application. If you are able to do it, trust me, nothing more gives a satisfaction to a programmer than building an application which others people can use. Fair enough. And now what happens once you have learned all these concepts and you learn front-end development with the React, learn the advanced React component, responsive UI design. So I always suggest to the people that you should always take steps gradually, right? So basically you learn one concept, okay? Then build the project around that, and then you further do the advanced concepts. If you try to learn all the thing at the same time, if you're trying to get the perfection on the day one itself, it's not going to work out. So it took some months and a village to create Rome, and so definitely if you want to become a good solid MERN stack developer, it happens in steps. I always tell my students that be little lenient on yourself, be little kind, give yourself some time and try to learn in phases and steps. Small concept, easy concept, build project, then add on the top of it, then further move. Do the iteration, and if you do it, I think nothing else will you need, just your self-motivation to make it big, right? And that's when you go and make the backend development, right? And database management, that's the next thing that you need to go and learn. And then finally you go and combine all those components and do a full stack MERN stack development, right? So now since we have talked about that, let me also throw some light on the career and the salary prospects. As I told you, MERN stack developers are most in demand. If I go and talk about the international market, and today it's become a very big reality that even if you sit in the small town in India, you can still work for the markets like UK and US. So in the global market, the average salary is close to around 110K across experience level, dollars I'm talking about. Just do a maths and find out how much lakh salary is this, right? And what are the factors influencing salary? Obviously, the factors influencing salary will be your experience, right? Your concepts, your performance in the interviews, right? All these factors will factor in to tell that how much salary that you're making it. Even in India, if I go and talk about anything that starts from 7 or 8 lakhs and it even goes to up to good enough 50-60 lakhs, where the people are earning the handsome salary. If I go and talk about the people working in companies like Uber, Google, LinkedIn, a MERN stack developer is earning as high as 80 lakh rupees per year. So there is no limit with the amount of money that you can make, the career growth or advancement that you get. The only thing that is needed is that you have a solid understanding of MERN stack, you know how to apply it, you have some projects and kitty, and you have told the world that you are a master in the MERN stack. Apart from that, as I already talked about, just a quick revision, you need to have the word, Git and GitHub. You should know how the internet works, a little bit around the authentication and authorizations. And if you can just on the top of it, a little information about the cloud. What is cloud? What are the different cloud providers? How do you go and do the deployments? And yes, when you go and work in the industry, they expect you to have the best coding practices. So along with the MERN, if you add these additional things, that's what is needed from you people. So with this is all you need to become a rock solid MERN developer in year 2024. And as I said, if you follow this religiously, if you're able to do all these steps, nobody is going to stop you from becoming a good MERN stack developer who is ready to take on the world make it big in the field of IT. In spite of that, if you still have any doubts, you can always reach out to our comment section, you'll reach out to the skills team, or you can reach out to me over the LinkedIn, where I'll be more than happy to help you with the career guidance. So nice to you, Happy New Year, and I hope you are set on the path of success.